Do you know who Elisa Lam is?
Yeah.
What do you know of the case surrounding Elisa Lam?
I know that she was acting weird in a hotel and then they found her dead in the water, like thing on top of the hotel, and there was no really realistic way that she could have got in there by herself.
Do you think that the death of Elisa Lam was an accident or was it a murder?
I think it was a murder.
Why do you think this?
Because from what I've read and heard about it, the way that she died and she got into the water tank and the way she got onto the roof, it all seemed like she couldn't have done that on her own in the state that she was in.
Do you want the LAPD to reopen the case?
Yeah, I should.
Do you believe any conspiracy theories surrounding the case?
I don't really know many of the conspiracy theories about the case.
Do you believe she was possessed or was it a lack of her antipsychotics to lead her to act the way in the security video?
I think it's more down to her meds and not being on them.
Do you know who Elisa Lam is? What do you know of the case surrounding Elisa Lam?
I just know that she went missing and then ended up in a yeah.
Do you think that the death of Elisa Lam was an accident or was it a murder?
It's a murder.
Would you like to expand on that?
Well, you just don't go strolling out of lifts. I don't know, do you?
Do you want the LAPD to reopen the case?
Yeah.
Do you believe any of the conspiracy theories surrounding the case?
I haven't heard any.
Do you believe that she was possessed or was it the lack of her antipsychotics to lead her to act in the way that she did in the security video?
Probably the lack of stuff.
Lack of her medication? Yeah.
Well, several years after a young woman was found dead inside a water tank on the roof of a downtown LA hotel, the mystery surrounding her death has only grown.
Police now believe the body found inside a rooftop water tank is that of a tourist who disappeared 3 weeks ago.
And Elisa was found dead floating in the water tower on the roof of the hotel.
Elisa Lam, a Canadian tourist who was last seen at the Cecil Hotel on January 31st.
And those answers, Mike, won't be coming for a while yet. We spoke with the LA coroner's office today, who told us the cause of death remains inconclusive.
To the hotel's drinking supply, and during those weeks, hundreds of residents and hotel guests have been using it.
Elisa Lam.
Elisa Lam. Elisa Lam. Up water tank.
Water tower.
Water tank.
Elisa Lam, a young student with a bright future, yet her life came to a sudden stop as she was found dead on top of the Cecil Hotel in 2013. Whether or not it was murder or a suicide, the investigation came to a close. I would like to take you through the investigation and give you an insight on this strange and bizarre case. Please remember that Elisa was and still is a human being. She should be remembered with respect. Elisa Lam was first reported missing on February 1st when she failed to check out of the hotel. She was later found dead on February 19th in a water tank on top of the Hotel Cecil, the hotel she was staying. Though the question is, how did Elisa get up to the roof? Many people believe that Elisa was being followed, as in one of her previous Tumblr posts, she mentioned saying to a guy that she had just met that she liked him. This was very different to Elisa, as we can see it's not her natural behaviour. And now, with all this going on, her family suspect foul play. The way that the body was found was she was lying naked with her face up in a 3/4 full water tank. This is uncommon as most drowning victims lay face down as they flip over. In freshwater drowning, victims inhale the water where it goes into their lungs and causes osmosis in the red blood cells. This causes the red blood cells to expand and eventually burst due to the lack of salt in the water. Saltwater drowning is different, where the salt in the water will leave the water and go into the red blood cells, and this causes more liquid to be produced by the body. So with saltwater drowning, you don't actually drown by the water you inhale, but you drown with the water and the liquid inside your body. Teen Wolf shows drowning in a comment made by Dylan O'Brien's character, Styles Delinsky.
You know, when you're drowning, you don't actually inhale until right before you black out. It's called voluntary apnea. It's like no matter how much you're freaking out, the instinct to not let any water in is so strong that you won't open your mouth until you feel like your head's exploding. But then when you finally do let it in, that's when it stops hurting. It's not scary anymore. It's actually kind of peaceful.
The LAPD didn't actually release the security footage until over a week had gone by. It was actually 2 weeks into the case when they released the security video. And in this video, we actually see Elisa acting strange and out of her normal characteristics. How to Get Away with Murder. And in this we see Lila Stansgard, who is a young 18-year-old, maybe 21-year-old at a college, and in the first episode she's missing. Throughout the first episode we hear constant news programmes and we see posters of missing Lila Stansgard, and then at the very end of the episode we actually see a reenactment of the sorority house she's part of and how a maintenance guy goes up and says, we've had complaints of low water pressure, and then he goes up to the roof and checks the water tank, and there is her decomposing body in the water tank. Now, this isn't exactly accurate, as Lila was strangled, but it is an adaptation of the Elisa Lam case, as in the similarities of the case, Elisa was put in the water tank, and so was Lila after she was killed, and it just shows how even now Elisa's case is still referenced in modern society, and people are still wanting the answers for Elisa and her family. There's a game that people speculate caused Elisa to act the way that she is acting in this security video, and it's called the elevator game. And in order to play the game, you must have an elevator that goes up to the 10th or above 10 floors. And now, the rules of the game. So you get into the elevator and you must be alone. If you aren't alone, you must start the elevator game again. So on the ground floor, you press 4, 2, 6, 2, 10, 5, 1. After pressing 1, you must either go up, which causes you to go to another dimension, or you've done the game wrong. On the 5th floor, a woman is supposed to enter. This woman is a entity, a dark entity, so a demon sort of. And people speculate that Elisa was returning from the other world, and that's why she was acting weird. But a lot of people don't believe in the Japanese Korean legend. People speculate that the government were the ones that killed Elisa Lam, as shortly right after Elisa had been found, there was a tuberculosis outbreak in Skid Row, which is right next to the Cecil Hotel. And with this, the test for tuberculosis is called Lam Elisa, and it is spelled the exact same way as Elisa Lam. So this got people thinking on Reddit that maybe the government were the ones that ordered Elisa Lam's death. And it does seem weird, however, there's not much evidence supporting it, as there is that people think she was murdered by someone.